Okay, we are here today to make candy boards, which is one of the options for emergency winter feed for your beehives. Fondant being another popular option, and also the mountain camp dry sugar method, which we're not going to discuss today. But to make a candy board, you start with an inner cover. This happens to be a nuke inner cover, and since we're going to be pouring liquid candy on top of the inner cover, the first thing we need to do is to tape the opening. So this good old duct tape, which of course we all know solves every problem. Put a couple layers on there so that it doesn't blow out with the candy seeping through. And then the second step is the little bit of depth you have in a standard inner cover. You're going to need more candy for winter feed than that. So you can make shims, just out of 1x3 wood, 1x2. Cut it to the same size as the inner cover, and then we're going to tape those in place. If you don't want to make your own or don't have the ability to make shims for your inner cover, you can buy what is called a wintering inner cover, which is basically an inner cover that has the sides already attached to it. So again, there's a hole in it that you're going to want to tape up. You can either, it's a larger hole, you can either do it with tape, or you can take a couple layers of a paper bag over that hole and then tape that down. We've got our candy boards that we made up, ready to go. Now it's time to start mixing the candy. To make the candy, we're going to use, in the batches size we make, 60 pounds of sugar. Okay, so I've got 10-pound bags of sugar here, so we'll put 6 of those in there, and 5 liters of water. This pitcher has 3 liters in it, and we'll add 2 more. I like to put the water in first, so that when the sugar gets hot, it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pot as much. So we'll put at least 3 liters of water in, and then I'll start adding sugar. We'll just have to remember to add the other 2 liters of water.
Do we also add vinegar?
We add I believe it's a cup of vinegar to the batch.
Okay. And what's the vinegar do?
The vinegar keeps the sugar syrup from fermenting. Then I added 40 pounds of sugar. Here's another 2 liters of water, which brings us to the 5 liters, which is the total we need for the batch. So now it's time to fire up the propane burner. There we go. Yes.
Is it on?
Now, the most important step, start to stir. Okay, so we've got this first 40 pounds of sugar is certainly not completely stirred in yet, but it's far enough. We can go ahead and add the other ingredients. Vinegar, white vinegar. We're going to put about a cup in there. Okay. Now I can go ahead and add the other 20 pounds of sugar.
So give it a stir. Pull the stick up for a second. about 190 degrees on the stick. The foam causes a lot of false readings. Go to a place where there is no foam for 210, 220. Go where the foam is, it drops down to 170. So significant difference between.
It gets clear, so you can tell when it's getting close because the color changes. You know, it's still that. It's not that amber.
It's got that milky.
Yeah, it's got
milky color to it
versus
now.
the amber clear color.
Yeah. Now we're getting witching brew.
If you don't hit 240 degrees, it won't set up into a solid candy, and that's what we need. Okay, so now we've finished cooking the candy, and it's time to start loading up our candy boards. I'm just going to pour a little bit in there at first, since it's relatively cold out today, low 40s. We want to see if it's going to set up. Also check to see if the candy board is relatively level.
And it's not leaking. One thing that does happen occasionally is you get a blowout. Either the tape comes loose or there's a hole that wasn't seen and it starts leaking. And one of the ways of fixing that is to actually pour some raw sugar right into the area of the blowout, and it will immediately congeal and stop the leak. Oh, and you put tape on the wrong side. Should be on the inside. I wouldn't put any more in until it sets up. What's that?
The tape is starting to peel on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may want to grab some more of that sugar and just pour it right over that hole. Just pour it straight on it. Perfect. So once it sets, once the leak has been stopped and set up, then you can continue to pour a little bit more in. But be careful about pouring it directly on the place where the leak was, because it will, yeah, right there.
Right where that's going down.
Because it may restart. And you'll see over here, you do have to put the tape on the inside, not on the outside. Even though we did pour sugar on there, you can see that it imploded in.
Okay, so once our candy boards have fully set up into hard candy, which is what we wanted, how do you apply them on your hive? Again, you open up the hive until you get to the top of the top blue box, and you just place the candy board candy side down on the hive, recover your hive, if you're putting insulation board, and then your outer cover, however you choose to top off your hives in the wintertime, and that's all there is to it.
Should I put, how about the inner cover? Can I put the inner cover on top of the brood box?
I do not put the
You
inner
do?
cover.
You
I
take
put
it
the
off.
candy board directly on top of the frames.
Okay.
One of the reasons for that is that this is hard candy, and the bees can't consume it as hard candy, but as they generate the heat in the hive and that warm air rises, that warm air, the candy is going to start to absorb some of that warm air, and that softens the candy, and that allows them to eat the candy.
Thanks, Jack.
Yep.